everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. I am so glad that it is finally the weekend. We have a holiday weekend here in the U.S. It's the 4th of July, and that means we're actually going to be off on Monday. We get to have a nice long weekend.
Our dedication to safely serving guests the food they love.
I was like, what is that sound?
Oh my God, clearly we are ready for the weekend over here. You guys, we are talking about the Bucks and how they really pulled through. We're also talking about that new rule that Jackie brought up in our show yesterday about the NCAA and which college athletes are going to be able to earn the most money. Very exciting stuff happening. Before we dive in, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media @JRay the Fanatic. And yes, clearly, I'm ready for the weekend because I wasn't ready for this show in the morning. Clearly.
Yeah, we've had a couple weird little technical difficulties happening this morning, but we're here. We made it. We're ready to dive into the news. But before we do, Jackie and I were talking before the show about whether or not we like country music. She says she's from Colorado, so she really can't hate on it. I recently started enjoying it. So for those of you who are watching in the chat, let us know what you think about country music. It's a very polarizing music genre, and I'm a new fan. Jackie.
The thing about country music, though, is I'm a big fan of storytelling. That's the reason why I became a journalist in the first place, is I love to still tell stories. And country music is still the genre of music that tells a good story from beginning to end. You know, and I love the whole joke about what do you get when you play country music backwards? You get your dog back, you get your house back, you get your girl back, because you're losing all that.
It's so true. I love that. And you know what? I saw a meme recently, and it was like male country singers are like, I want to make you my wife. I want to have a family with you. I want to love you. And then female country singers are like, oops, killed my husband.
Right.
That's
Darn it.
Oops, committed murder. Jackie, okay, another question I want to ask you before we get into the news, and I would love to hear from you guys in the chat as well. What are your plans for the long weekend? Are you going to be doing anything special or just taking it easy?
You guys know I moved into a building that I absolutely love, so I am going to catch up on some much needed missed sleep, and then I'm going to just party with my my neighbors, you know, people in the building. We've got an amazing building with a pool. I know some people had a party the last holiday we had. I'm going to crash it. I'm going to be a party crasher. I'll be like, hey guys, remember me? I met you. Blah, blah.
You know what I've noticed? On 4th of July holidays, I always end up crashing parties. I don't know how or why it happens, but I always end up at a party that I wasn't originally invited to. This time, I actually do have an invite, so I'm really grateful for that. I finally have friends. Just kidding. I've always had friends. They just go out of town over the holidays. Okay, let's get into the news. I really want to talk about the Bucks here. So they moved one win away from making it back to the NBA Finals, and this is the first time that they're even having this opportunity since 1974. And the last time they won the NBA Finals was, I think, 1971. So it's been a long time coming, very long time coming. And even if we're just looking at recent history with Giannis at the helm of the Bucks, we have been waiting for him to make it to this point for a while as well. He's never been able to finally reach it. Of course, he's not playing right now, but to know that he is the superstar of that team and they are on their way to making it to the NBA Finals is something to be celebrated. They won against the Atlanta Hawks in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The final score was 123-112. I want to talk about Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday because they stepped up in a big way for Milwaukee during the game. Brook led Milwaukee with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Drew had 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 13 assists, and they were among 4 total Bucks players who scored 20 or more points in the game. So everybody was really bringing their A game, which was exciting to see, especially because like I said, Giannis was not on the floor with them. The Hawks definitely had a rough start to the game. They were down 32-12 with 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the first quarter. They did manage to cut the deficit to 9 points by halftime, but that still wasn't enough for them to be able to pull through and walk away with the win. And the Hawks were also still out Trae Young. So both teams were down their top players, and it was cool to see the way the Bucks were able to kind of rally and still push through. So what were you surprised to see bench players and other starters step up in such a big way in Giannis's absence, Jackie?
No, I told you somebody was going to have a growth spurt last night. And I specifically said that on the show yesterday, that somebody had to have a growth spurt. Did I think it was going to be Bobby Portis? No, but Bobby Portis went out there and he did the damn thing. I was in here just in complete awe of the Bucks. I text everybody I knew, like, if you ain't watching this game, you need to be watching this game. These Bucks are playing their behinds off, and they were. Bobby Portis was super aggressive. He was fearless. He kept drawing the fouls. He missed a couple free throws. Yes, I know. But he was super aggressive. He did his thing. He had something like, first of all, can we talk about all the steals that entire team had? Everybody had steals. Y'all know how I feel about steals. Steals are my favorite stat, if you don't know that. Everybody had steals. Bobby Portis had 3 steals. Chris Middleton had 2 steals. Brooke had like 2 steals, and he was blocking everything. Had like something like 14 assists. It was insane. I was so proud, and I thought at that moment the Hawks should be very, very, very afraid, because I don't think if the Bucks play this way with or without Giannis, I don't think the Hawks have a chance, because when you put Trae Young back into that situation, that's a slight adjustment. You just got to shut Trae down, but essentially everybody just has to do what they did last night with the blocks and the steals and the assists and Chris Middleton stepping up. And it was just a very flawless display of teamwork. I love what Brooke Lopez said at the end of the game. He said, you know what? We had one goal. We got a slow start in a couple of games. Our goal was to get the lead early and keep it. And they did exactly that. And they played very, very well together. They had great ball movement. They spread the floor out. I was really impressed. I did not expect that. I know I said that yesterday, like, I don't know what I'm going to see tonight, because when you have a situation where Giannis is out and Trae Young is out, now we're going to see different teams, period, because you just play different. When your stars are on the floor, you have schemes that you run through them. The whole game kind of runs through your stars. So I didn't know entirely what I was going to see here. And what I saw was amazing. If you stick Giannis back into that situation for the Bucks, it's a wrap for sure. That's also something that I noticed. Trae Young at the shoot around at the start of the game, he was kind of wincing. He was very timid. He didn't seem like he was feeling very well. Versus Giannis, he stayed on his feet the whole game, walking back and forth, very involved as far as his presence. And just to me, just seeing him standing up, you could tell that he wanted to get back into the game. I know that's one of those things that every player wants to do. They want to get back into the game. You definitely have to play that safe, though. You have to protect them from themselves. You can't just let them go back out there and play, especially Trae Young, because he was visibly in pain. We don't know about Giannis. Giannis could have literally been powering through it, because that's what athletes do. They want to get out on the court. Nonetheless, I am a new fan. I have never been a fan of Brooke Lopez ever in my life, but the way that man went out there and stepped up, I was very impressed. Very, very impressed.
I was impressed too. I was impressed with the Bucks as a whole, because I had the Hawks winning the Eastern Conference Finals. I had them going into the finals. So I have to say, I'm surprised by how good everybody looked last night. Now, Giannis, I know you mentioned that he was, walking back and forth on the sidelines, and he was, showing his support, but he's not actually playing. So if the Bucks do make it to the finals, do you think that changes the Giannis narratives that we've been hearing over the last few seasons, or does he still have something left to prove on a personal level?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting if they make it without him and they win. And I was wrong. I don't think Brooke had 14 assists. I think that was Drew Holiday that had something like 13 or something like that. Anyway, they was playing their behinds off. But this is the question. Go ahead.
Sorry, Drew had 13 assists.
13 assists, right. Yeah, okay. So here's the big question, because this is a narrative we've been talking about a lot since we've seen so many injuries this season, unfortunately, is how these teams adjust without their stars. essentially, even though they didn't get to the promised land, the Clippers played much better without Kawhi. And here we are with the Bucks. As a team, they're playing much better without Giannis. I don't know if this is something that he needs to reevaluate, but I think as from a coaching standpoint, you do. From a coaching standpoint, you have to say, okay, we've been running our entire offense through one person. Perhaps we should spread this out a little bit more. We do have a lot of talent on our team. Maybe I need to rethink this and do what the Spurs have done very, very well for a long time and play team basketball instead of playing this star power basketball. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially if they go and they win it all without Giannis. He still gets that ring. I don't want to take that away from him. But if he's not involved in winning that ring, I think from a coaching standpoint, you do have to say, maybe we've been playing this wrong. Maybe we are a full team. Maybe it's just not, hey, let's focus on the 2-time MVP. Maybe it's let's focus on all of our guys and let all of our guys help carry this team. So I think it's just a reevaluation from a coaching standpoint. But I think what we saw last night, especially if we continue to see that through the playoffs, the Bucks are a solid team. I don't think I've said that this entire season. I think this whole entire season I've said, if Giannis, if Giannis, if Giannis. And so this was a team growth spurt. I know I said that I probably was going to see a growth spurt from one guy, but this was a team growth spurt. The way that they relied on each other and the chemistry, and I'm seeing Brooke Lopez and Bobby Portis hugging on the sideline and they're lifting each other up. This was a team effort and they need to be commended for that. I think it's a great look.
I wonder if what we're seeing with the Bucks is a little bit of like the Paul George theory. You know, Paul George was able to really step up in a big way when he didn't have the support of Kawhi with him on the floor. Maybe the Bucks were relying too much on the fact that they do have a 2-time MVP kind of at the helm of the team. And without him there, they realized like, oh, shoot, like I actually have to really put up a lot of effort. Like I got to fill in the gaps now. Maybe there was just a little too much reliance on Giannis, and seeing how they were able to really come together and push through makes me think that next season they're going to keep that same energy and just add Giannis to the mix, which will make them even more of a threat. Do you agree with that?
Exactly. 100%. Jeremiah in the chat says if they win without him, it's because everybody injured. They won't make the playoffs next year without Giannis. I don't think they'll have to worry about making the playoffs next year without Giannis. It's exactly like you just said. What they did last night needs to be game tape that they watch over and over and over again. This is who we are as a team. Now we plop Giannis into that, and now we're a full team. But this is something that I think that we've kind of gotten away from in basketball as a whole. I think people forget that it's a team sport, and people always want to run their offense through one guy. And these are the moments that sometimes these injuries are a blessing in disguise, because sometimes you can see who's got what kind of capability, who can step up, who can, in the absence of Giannis, who can step in. And yeah, maybe you do have to win by committee. Maybe he can't do everything Giannis can do, but Brooks steps up, Drew Holiday steps up, Chris Middleton steps up, PJ Tucker, even though he didn't score a lot of points, very, very beneficial to that franchise. So this is one of those things that I do not agree with that statement from Jeremiah. I think what the rest of the league should see is, okay, they done messed around and got a whole full team over there in Milwaukee. And these guys are confident now, especially in this moment in time. You add Giannis to that, now you got a real threat. And so I think that's one of those things that we have just really kind of dropped the ball on for a long time. This is a team sport. You need everybody to play their role. And now I think that this just changes up the coaching prowess for the Bucks, because now you know what you got to work with, and you know guys is hungry. And if you give them an opportunity, and that's one of the things that you don't really get when you just run your offense through one guy, you're not giving everybody an opportunity. And these are guys that have proven if you give them the opportunity, they will step up. So you just have to change your offensive scheme a little bit. But I thought I was impressed. I did not expect to see that. I was sitting here like, am I cheering for the Bucks? Is that happening right now? It was happening. I was very, very impressed.
I feel like that's been happening to you a lot lately, Jackie. Yep. I do think, though, that one lesson a lot of these athletes should take away from the playoffs is, just looking at the Clippers, looking at the Bucks. There is never a time in the postseason where you should not be putting up 100%. If you're on the floor, you've got to be putting up 100%. You've got to act like you're the only player there, even if it is a team sport, because I think that's just the problem that we're seeing. People are getting too comfortable in their various positions, positions, and they're getting too comfortable with the support they have around them. But really, when we see superstar after superstar going down with injuries, it just shows that there is never a good time for these guys to not be putting in full effort, especially in the postseason.
I think that's the problem, though. I think they are putting in full effort in the roles that they've been told to play. And so I think what we're seeing now is what we're asking guys to do isn't the right thing. We're asking them to put one person at the center of their playing scheme and then do what I say after that, versus what we saw last night when everybody is firing on all cylinders. That is when the team, I mean, again, even though they didn't make it to the promised land, we saw that with the Clippers. All of a sudden, the Clippers became a team. They haven't really been a team. They've been Kawhi in them. And so that was the first time that they were actually a team. And so I think what this season has done is really just shown us that having guys know that what they are there to do is support one other guy doesn't work. It just doesn't. This is a team sport, and you've got to figure out a way to get everybody involved and make everybody feel like they're an asset. So everybody plays like this is their responsibility to win. And once you start empowering guys like that, I think now you've got a team that is a team to be reckoned with. And I think the Bucks have proven that for sure.
Totally. Yeah, I agree 100%. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about the NCAA. Jackie brought this up yesterday in our show, and it's something that we've been waiting to see happen for college athletes. Starting July 1st, college athletes will be able to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness, something they haven't been able to do in the past. Most of these athletes are not going to be making a lot of money from their name, image, and likeness, but there are a select few who will be able to bring in a huge chunk of change. Leo, if you have that tweet ready for us, let's get the first tweet up there. Because Olivia Dunn, who's a gymnast at LSU, has 1.1 million Instagram followers, and she's expected to earn more compensation than any other college athlete, which is outrageous. Even having 1.1 million followers in general, without being an athlete, you have the capacity to earn a ton of money. But now, knowing that she's going to be able to sign some major deals with different sports brands and activewear brands and whatever, that girl's going to be able to bring in a lot. And then there's Miami quarterback Eric King, who signed 4 endorsement deals in a single day. One day. That's crazy. So he signed with College Hunks Moving Company, which I love, The Wharf, Murphy Auto Group, and Dreamfield. I feel like that College Hunks Moving Company is the ideal fit for a college quarterback. Like, that's so awesome. But yeah, so now in 13 hours since that deal went through, he has 4 brand deals. So he is going to be making more than probably any of us can even dream of, and he's not even out of college yet. So that's crazy. Jackie, are you surprised by how fast these deals were made, or do you think that brands have been waiting for this moment to capitalize on college athletes?
Absolutely. I think once the word went out that, hey, these college athletes are going to be able to make money, I think everybody who is endorsing an athlete right now are just sitting in like Burns from the Simpsons. Excellent. They were just waiting to pounce on these kids, because especially when you consider some of the endorsements that they're getting. College Hunks, you know, people move around a lot. I think out here we have Starving Students as a moving company, and people kind of flock to them because you expect them to be cheaper and things of that nature. So I think this is a fantastic thing. It's exactly like you said. If you have 1 million followers, I have a friend that has 100,000. I don't know how he got that many followers, but he has 100,000 followers, and he has endorsements. He makes money off of TikTok. So it's one of those things where if you have 1.1 million followers, first of all, how? Second of all, yes, these brands are going to want you to get, because first of all, it's way cheaper for them. Just a little fun marketing tip. It's way cheaper for them to get a social influencer to market their products to people who are constantly on their phone. Instagram is constantly listening to us and pushing things in the algorithm than it is to buy a 30-second commercial on a major network for a major show. That is very, very expensive. We talk about that every year, especially when it comes to the Super Bowl. So this is a win-win for college athletes. I saw Kevin in the chat say no more late night, pizza deliveries on your bikes for these guys. And that is so true. I know a lot of people miss this sometimes, but a lot of these guys get, they do, some of them will make it to the league for sure, but it's a small percentage of people who actually make it to the league, number one. Number two, that have a great career in the league. So now these guys, even if they're not super great, they have that presence. This gymnast obviously is not one of those people. She has that many followers because she's amazing. But, when we talk about some of these other people that might have that 100,000 followers, that's not a ton of followers, but it's still enough followers to get you some money. And now you can focus on your education more. You can focus on your practice more. Now you don't have to go to class, go to practice, go to work, rinse and repeat, and then try to have some semblance of a social life, and then just be, a 20-something person. You don't have to worry about all that. You can just be a college student now that needs to smile and look pretty for the camera sometimes. This is fantastic. I love this for these student athletes, especially because I know maybe not all, a lot of people had full ride scholarships. I know a lot of people struggle, even if you're not an athlete. You'll get a work study or something like that, or a whole bunch of loans. I'm not, and I get that. But what we know about these athletes, and it's like it's twice as hard for them as it is for the regular student. I could not be more excited about this. I think this is fantastic. It is so long overdue, especially when you consider how much money these colleges make off of these kids. I think it's long overdue. I am very, very, very excited for these kids. I really, really am, especially these endorsements that came in so quick. I didn't expect that. I thought these endorsements would come over time, but this is fantastic. I love this.
I think it's great too, because we've heard about college athletes who wake up at 5 for practice, and then they do go to class, and then they do a 6-hour shift at, like Jersey Mike's or whatever. And it's just like, that's got to be exhausting. And if you want to have a successful athletics department and successful teams, you have to be able to give these athletes a chance to rest, to recover, to not be stressed out about money or whatever. So I think that this is awesome, and I'm super happy to see it. Do you think that there could be any issues with this situation? Like, one thing that I thought of, and this is something that's been addressed in the past, is that there could be some jealousy going on with the athletes who don't have the opportunity to earn as much. Do you feel like that could end up being problematic or cause tension?
I mean, that jealousy already exists. Trust me when I tell you that, because whether they're getting paid or not, there's an athlete right now that's getting more attention than another athlete. So that jealousy is going to exist. And so is it going to intensify? Probably. But this is the United States, where jealousy abounds. So I don't care. I know that sounds bad, but grow up, my guy. Life is like that. There's always going to be somebody that's going to get a little bit more attention than you. Either suck it up and be like, this is life, and move on with it, or figure out a way to bring more attention to yourself. You know what I mean? So I don't care about that. Feel how you feel about that. I don't care.
And then another issue that we've heard people talk about, and I don't think that there's any basis for this at all, but people think that earning money and doing brand deals is going to end up taking up more time for these athletes, and they're going to focus more of their attention on getting that coin instead of focusing on practicing and playing well. Do you feel like that's going to be an issue at all, or are these kids smart enough to realize that they're earning this money because of what they do on the field, on the court, whatever?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think at first it's going to be like, oh, damn, let me get this money. And they're going to be chasing after that deal. But the second their play starts to drop, because these brand deals that you get from social media are not like these endorsement deals that you get when you're a pro athlete. Those endorsement deals, there's a contractual time to that. So even if your play declines a little bit, your contract might be 3-4 years, whatever, So these brand deals are not like that. These brand deals are as good as long as you're good. So it's a little bit different. So I think it's going to be a little bit of both. But I think at the end of the day, the second you lose a little bit of money because your stock value drops, you're going to have to understand that now it's time to step up. So it'll be a little bit of both. But I do not think it's going to impact these kids the way that people think, because these athletes that are playing because they love to play. And that's not going to change. These endorsement deals don't change the pro athletes. They still go out there and do the best they can. And they know exactly what you just said. Their endorsements are tied to how well they're doing. These kids are looking up to these stars, and they know exactly the same thing. So no, absolutely not. I don't think it's going to be a thing. It might be a thing for I don't want to say weaker minded, but that's, what I'm thinking, where it's just all about the money instead about your passion. It might derail a few, but not enough to care. You know what I mean? It's not going to be an absorbent amount of kids that are derailed because of this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that they are smart. If they've been able to make it this far where they're, earning so much recognition for what they are able to do athletically, they're not going to just suddenly let that go by the wayside in favor of money. I think that they're going to realize that they are intrinsically connected and one can't exist without the other. Hopefully, at least. Yep. I mean, I'm giving these people a lot of faith. I know they're young. When I was their age, I was making stupid decisions and choosing to go to a party instead of go to work or whatever. So, you never really know. They're young, but I just think that they are smart enough to realize at least that much. Yep. But that wraps up Need to Know News. We have Fan or Foe coming up at the end of the show. So let's get into the post tab so we can answer some of your questions, comments, and clapbacks later.
Yes, let's get into it. Now, I posted the whole Patrick Beverley pushing CP3 on my Instagram because I thought it was funny. Y'all did not. Y'all was mad. I got a whole bunch of DMs and how dare you? He could have ended that man's career. No, the flop at the end and the roll might have ended his career because we saw that happen to Joel Embiid. Whatever. But at least Patrick Beverley realizes what he did was wrong. He took a moment to self-reflect and he apologized. And I like this. He says, CP3, emotions got the best of me last night. My bad. Wasn't meant for you. I don't know how you can say it wasn't meant for you. Whatever. But congrats on making it to the finals. Best of luck. That's the best you can hope for, right? The best you can hope for is that somebody realizes the error of their ways. They step up and they apologize for it. I don't like Patrick Beverley. You guys know that. But I'm glad that he apologized because, I gave him a pass on that one anyway. But he definitely should have apologized, and I'm glad that he did. But, man, you guys won't even let the guy apologize. You guys are coming for him in this apology. This guy says, you embarrassed yourself. But even worse, you embarrassed the whole Clippers organization, coaching staff, and teammates. You should apologize. You deserve consequences as well. He got his consequences, sir. And that's why I thought I was okay with it, because you know what? The worst they can do is inject him from the game. That's what they did. He got his consequences, sir. Shut up. We're going to go on to this next one. I can't believe you guys got me out here defending Patrick Beverley. This is ridiculous. This guy says, okay, at least you apologize. Take the L humbly next time. I can accept that. But then this one on the bottom says, players like you don't belong in the NBA. Please pack your bags and never return for the safety of our players that play the right way. Just so we're clear, flopping all the time is the right way. You guys get on my nerves. Devin, I don't know what you think about this. I personally accept Patrick Beverley's apology. It could be because I giggled when it happened and it wasn't that serious to me. I understand that. But do you think this apology is enough and now we can just put this behind us and move on?
You know what? Shockingly, I actually do think it's enough. And I was not as amused by this situation as you were. Yes, the flopping was ridiculous, but I never like to see just like these random acts of like violence and aggression. Like, what was the point of pushing him? That was my question. But I think that coming out and admitting wrongdoing, that deserves our forgiveness, at least in my opinion. So I appreciated that he apologized, and I think we can move on. I don't think that he deserves any more hate. Let's forget about it.
I agree. And I don't even like Pat Beverley. So
me either.
If I can, so I don't hate on the guy. I'm a little bit different than Devin. Devin's like, well, what do you get out of that? It made me feel better. Sometimes that's all that it's about. I was okay with that moment in time. I understand that it was wrong. I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying that I understand. I forgive you, Patrick Beverley. So you're fine. I still don't like you, but I forgive you. But look, the Suns obviously are excited about this moment in time. They are living on cloud nine. I am telling you, when they got back home, this was like a movie. The only thing that was missing in this moment in time is that P. Diddy song, that we ain't going nowhere. If they had that playing over the top, this would have definitely been a scene from a movie. But check out this, their arrival back home. Man, they deserve all of that love. I mean, that whole city is electric and on fire right now, and I am definitely here for this moment in time. I'm telling you, I might take this and just put that P. Diddy song over it so y'all can see that that's the energy that they had right now. I love this. Of course, we got some people still being mad. Y'all just mad. Suns fans don't even care about COVID or their variants. First of all, you don't even know if them people are vaccinated. Second of all, mind your business. Didn't nobody ask you? And then this next one says, only beat injured teams. The whole league was injured this season. What are you talking about? Let's not hate on the Suns. Let's let them have this moment in time. And then this one says, did they win the championship? Is this celebration just for winning the Western Conference Finals without AD, without Murray, without Kawhi? This is the most hilarious reaction to almost winning a championship I've ever seen. Oh, God. And then I was going to come for this user, but I'm glad the person on the bottom did instead. He says, seeing as though you're from Houston, I'd be salty too if CP3 made it to the finals with another team after what happened in Houston, sir. Are we there? Because I feel like if I could hate, if I'm not hating on the Suns or anybody else, if I'm literally watching games and cheering for team, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all this mad? You know, May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and we talked about getting therapy. If y'all this mad, I would suggest y'all go out and try that. Get some therapy. This is ridiculous. But let's move on to this one, you guys, because I love how we're just moving through these posts up because I can't wait to get to fan or foe. But this Bucks fans, okay. So now on one hand, I was clowning people for being mad. So I'm definitely not going to clown this guy for being happy. The commentator is the best part of this whole situation. I just could have lived without this moment. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all take a look. I mean, represent your team. Oh, Leo, did you have Leo? Why? I mean, okay, I'm not gonna throw no shade at this man. He happy, he's doing his thing. Okay, let's just take that off though. Let's just move on to the tweet. Take it off. And this one is great. Tell me you're from Wisconsin without telling me you are from Wisconsin. I love that. And someone said, get this man an NFL contract on the O-line. I could have lived without it. But I'm happy that you guys are happy. You deserve that moment of happiness, but the struggle and then the reveal, could have lived without it. Kevin Pryor in the chat. Let's move on to this next one because I know this is something that you want to talk about. I see you, Kevin. Like you said, pause. I see what you did there. I saw Kevin Pryor say this earlier when we were talking about these endorsement deals that these kids are having now. And I could not agree with you more on that sentiment that first of all, I don't think Reggie Bush should have ever lost his Heisman Trophy. The fact that he did is completely asinine, especially from USC, which we know the S in USC stands for scandal. Come on, that school always got a scandal going. This is ridiculous that he ever lost his Heisman Trophy. So I 100% agree with you, Kevin Pryor. Reggie did issue a statement about that. I want you guys to take a look at that now. He says, over the last few months, on multiple occasions, my team and I have reached out to the NCAA and the Heisman Trust in regard to reinstatement of my college records and the return of my Heisman. We left multiple messages for Michael Comfort and the president of the Heisman Trust, but instead received a call from Rob Whalen, the executive director, who stated that Mr. Comfort would not be calling us back and that in any event, they could not help us. We reached out to the NCAA on multiple occasions and received no help or got a response to it at all. It is my strong belief that I won the Heisman Trophy solely due to my hard work and dedication on the football field, and is also my firm belief that my records should be reinstated. I 100% believe that. And especially now that we've lifted all these bans and stuff on him, and it absolutely should be reinstated. I stick by what I say. It should not have been taken away in the first place. This is one of the reasons why I always root against USC, is this moment in time. I think they handled this completely wrong. But here comes this entitlement, this ridiculous entitlement from Twitter. Y'all, some of y'all really need to take a step back and think before you type. This guy says, just because something is now legal, that doesn't change the fact that it was legal when you did it. The world doesn't work like that. Dude, just because they are making it legal now doesn't mean it was when you did it. Y'all are dumb. Yes, it does. Them people that are sitting in jail right now over minor weed offenses should be released immediately. And why is that? Because weed being illegal then was wrong. Just like preventing these kids from earning money back then was wrong. Now that you've rectified that, in order to truly rectify that wrongdoing, you have to do a blanket sweep of the wrongdoing you've done in the past. The NCAA needs to rectify this in its totality. That includes giving Reggie his Heisman Trophy back. I do not like this at all. One guy actually got it, and I appreciate him saying what he said. He says, "Why does everyone keep saying he broke the rules or it's his fault, when the rules at the time he broke had nothing to do with his on-the-field achievements? Getting money for a house did not make Reggie run faster or jump higher. Give it back." Why is that hard to understand? I don't understand. Y'all who don't understand that, it's weird to me. This man definitely needs to have that Heisman Trophy back. And I don't know what y'all need to do. I don't know if we need to start a petition or what, but it needs to happen. Let's move on to this next one, because I can't wait to see what Devin thinks about this one. So I want you guys to tell me you have a problem with somebody without telling me you have a problem with somebody. You guys know my favorite TikToker in the world is Chase Claypool. I love his TikToks. I love his relationship with his mom. He is funny. But look, his teammate, Devin, decided to, Devin Bush, who is, and he's a linebacker. He said, "If you a grown man and you got TikTok on your phone, stay the F from around me." Boy, you know Chase is your teammate and you know he is always on TikTok. What? So Chase responded and he was like, he didn't really say much. He just said, "Yikes," which is what I would have said, because once you say that and you know that I stay on TikTok, you clearly have a problem with me. This is okay, but I expected fans to come to Chase's defense and be like, "No, you tripping. Let that man live his life," because all they do is stay at home. Stop it. And then this person says, "Stop following Juju down that rabbit hole, dog. Steelers fans don't want anything to do with that dancing and playing around until after y'all win a Super Bowl." Sir, I don't know how you can dictate what happens in my personal life. Do you pay my bills? I don't understand this thought process. This user says, "I don't think you realize how much money they make doing it. They also have more free time than the majority of people with normal jobs. People think NFL players are robots or something." I see some of y'all in chat. Suleiman says, "I agree with him." I don't care. If this man wants to get on TikTok and hang out with his mom and make funny little things with his family, who's he hurting? He's not dancing on no logos. He's not following. Y'all weird. Devin, what do you think about this?
I think that it is bizarre that so many people have a problem with Chase having an app on his phone and using it.
Right.
Like, Jeremiah says, like, "I agree with Devin Bush." Okay, I'd like to see you in, 7 years or however old Chase is, and you're earning money from TikToks and you actively choose not to participate. Like, this is just ridiculous. This is just people hating for no reason because they take life too seriously. I say go for it. We know LeBron's on TikTok. We know that a lot of these NBA players are on TikTok. Tom Brady's on TikTok. You seriously gonna sit here and tell me Tom Brady should not be on TikTok? He is so amusing. Like, and he's a grown man. He's a grown man more than any of these guys. So dumb, ridiculous. Right. Do not agree with Devin Bush. And I think all of you in the chat are just jealous.
Let me tell you the worst response I've seen to this is coming from Jeremiah Smith, because I'm trying to make it make sense. He says TikTok, the reason the Steelers got bounced out. Y'all, when I tell you, you need to really sit down and reevaluate your thought processes. That is the most asinine thing that
Wait, but why though? Like, why?
Right.
Why would that be? Because of Juju? Like, I'm confused. Why?
I mean, oh God. I mean, I guess. I mean, they say that the youth is our future. Jeremiah, you making me question the future with your thought processes. I'm just letting you know now. Let me just move on to the next one. Husa. Okay. I'm going to have to give Jake Paul a pass. You guys, what is happening in the world? But I am also a little bit mad at Sarah Appler for this situation. Now, I'm not mad at what she did. I get it. I've talked about this on this show several times, how the UFC is trash when it comes to paying these people to get in that damn octagon and what they're going through. Obviously, she's a new fighter. If you don't know who she is, she's a new fighter. So she should be supported in that, because every time she steps in the ring, regardless if she's new or not, UFC is making money off of that. But she actually had to put up a GoFundMe page because she's focused on her fighting and her fighting career, but she's not making enough money to pay bills. So she had to post a GoFundMe. Jake Paul got a hold of that GoFundMe, and he says this, and I agree with this. He says, and then she had to post it ahead of a fight. She's about to step in the ring and still has to do a GoFundMe. That's crazy to me. So Jake Paul says, imagine a rookie in the NBA had to start a GoFundMe to play. I let Sarah, her name on Instagram is Too Sweet. No, she has my support and contribution. It's my honor and privilege to help fellow fighters in any way that I can. I think that this is such a beautiful thing. This is a hash mark in Jake Paul. Definitely, I think that's one of the things we have to admit, whether we like him or not. He has a passion for fighting. And I think that this is a career that he's probably going to pursue. And maybe in a year or so, we're looking at him more seriously. This isn't just something that he posted on his Twitter, though, and said, hey, I support her. He actually put his money where his mouth is. And there you see him right there, Jake Paul, with a $5,000 donation. That is a fantastic thing. But what I'm not going to do is overlook the Thriller Fight Club, because Thriller Fight Club, they stepped in and they donated, I believe it was $25,000 on behalf of Lisa Ferguson, who's also an MMA fighter. She now has $35,252. That was what she had at the time of the show. It might have gone up since then. But $25,000 they donated. So here's my problem with Sarah, though. While this is great that Jake did that, I looked all over her damn social media. I did not see one accolade for Lisa. I did not see one accolade for Thriller Fight Club. They gave you $25,000. But because they don't have the star power and the namesake that Jake Paul is, the only person she said thank you to is Jake Paul, at least publicly. I'm sure she's done interviews where she's probably thanked them. I haven't seen all of those, though. I know she did one this morning that I haven't seen. But as far as her social media, Jake Paul. Devin, that bothers me.
It bothers me too, but I think that that's a symptom of the society we live in. Jake Paul's always going to get the headlines, even if other people deserve the attention a little bit more or the accolades more. So I think she definitely should have publicly thanked Lisa, you said it was, for the $25,000 donation, but Jake Paul's always going to be the one that ends up getting the praise or the most hate, whatever way you look at it.
Yep. All right. So before we get to the elephant in the room with Sha'Carri, let's get into this little this reenactment of what people think is going to happen now that college athletes can have some money, they can earn money. Because Devin said, do you think that maybe they're going to be more focused on this? This person reenacted this perfectly of what might happen. It's hilarious. Take a look.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be late for practice. Big chips. Big chips. Come on, boy. What's up, coach? Practice? Alright, I'm on the way.
The chain. I see you, Devin. The chain. I hope that only took one take, because that chain looks so damn heavy. I know it hurt to just do. I hope that only took one take, because otherwise he got back problems. I tell you that right now.
Seriously, that's like giving me a neck ache just looking at it.
Like, why are you walking like that? Oh, I did a TikTok in my neck. Like,
oh my God. It's so funny. That is what they think is going to happen. And I love especially the dollar bills flying off of the Tesla as it speeds away. That's also a really great look. But, you know, maybe some guys are going to let this get to their head, but I think most of them are just going to, I think they have decent heads on their shoulders, and they're going to realize that they still got to maintain their athleticism if they want to keep bringing in the checks.
Yes. I got to get my followers up, because that Tesla is my car. Y'all got my car on a TikTok, and I feel some type of way about it.
I know. I want a Tesla too.
Oh, that exact one. I want mine black though, black with matte black rims. But y'all know I want my black on black. But let's get into what we not gonna do, because this one I need a minute on. Because when I saw this, I was heartbroken. I was unnerved. I was disappointed. If you saw Challenge Accepted on Wednesday, one of the challenge that we did centered completely around Sha'Carri and her potentially breaking FloJo's record. So I have an issue with this, because to me, this is once again a double standard that we've encountered as Black people several times. And I honestly can't believe that we're still testing for weed. That is insane to me. That why are we testing for weed? But nonetheless, I saw that she had done an interview. And in that interview is when, so this was shortly after we showed you not too long ago when we showed you her qualifying for the Olympics, and then she went and she fell in her grandmother's arms. And at that point she was talking about, finding out that her biological mother had found. So shortly before that, she found out her biological mother had died from a reporter. So finding out her mom had died from a reporter, trying to qualify for the Olympics, living in Oregon, where weed is very much legal, she partook in the cannabis, which I'm actually fine with that. I don't think it should be a problem that she did this. So here's where I have a problem, is because how she's being villainized. Like if you go on to social media right now and they're like, oh, she should have known better. Oh, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't deserve to be there. I want you to keep that understanding of how everyone's kind of blaming her, saying she was wrong for this. This is terrible. She should take responsibility. She doesn't deserve the Olympics. And listen to this. I'm going to read this word for word. And I need you to understand the verbiage that is used for Michael Phelps, who was seen in college, a picture with a big old bong smoking weed. I just want you to kind of take note of the terminology. So Huffington Post wrote an article in 2009 that said, I'm going to get to that one in a minute, but the article that they wrote in 2009 said 23-year-old Michael Phelps apologized for his youthful indiscretion where he was caught on camera at a party smoking a bong that allegedly contained marijuana. The party took place 3 months before the Olympics. He was suspended, and hopefully, and this is what it says, the damage to his career was minimal when he was slapped with a 3-month suspension from the USA swimming. So he wasn't slapped with a suspension, obviously, from the Olympics, but just from competing from the US games. So Sha'Carri is actually younger than Michael Phelps was when he was caught with this bong. She's 21. So she didn't use steroids. She didn't use any performance enhancing drugs, but she tested positive for marijuana. And now she's facing a 30-day suspension that would force her to miss the 100 meters, which is the one we were all thinking that she would break FloJo's record. Now, depending on how they do this, because the 30-day suspension would lift right before the 4x1 relay, but I'm not entirely sure if they're going to let her run in that one or not. But my question is why are we still testing for weed though? Why? And I love this tweet. This person said, they're trying to block the girl from Olympics for weed, and we stare at Michael Phelps. Facts. And then there's more reaction to this. Everybody had an opinion about this, and I just want to kind of get into those tweets right now. Hey, Leo! That was great. Oh my God. By the way, since we saw Leo, take this moment. It's his birthday week. Happy birthday, Leo!
Happy birthday,
that was God.
Leo!
Right? That was God's way of reminding us to say happy birthday, Leo. Okay, now let me get back to work. So this person says, marijuana, this is ridiculous if true. Sha'Carri Richardson deserves better. Do you have any idea all the stuff media and police looked the other way to allow Michael Phelps to keep swimming? Facts. Let's go to another one. Everybody had something to say about this. Odell chimed in. He said, this is BS. And then this Elijah says it's legal. It's legalized. You're human, and it's not a performance enhancer. You still ran a MF in 10.8. What are we talking about? If anything, first of all, if she was smoking weed and smoked all of y'all like that, damn. Yep, damn. So that's number one. So I think I have one more tweet. I think I have one from Damian Lillard, and he said that this is BS. And this is the part that bothers me about this. It is legal. This is what Joe says. It is legal to recreationally smoke weed in 19 plus states, including the one where Richardson tested positive, while the NFL, NBA, and MLB have softened their stance, but we're still going to stop an Olympian from competing due to a non-performance enhancing drug. This makes no sense. Let me tell you the problem that I have with this. And I know y'all gonna be like, oh, here she go. Yes, here I go. Here's the problem that I have with this. We have so many people that will say, oh, you know, these athletes shouldn't even want to go to the Olympics if they have a problem with the way America treats them. No, this is her passion. This is what she wants to do. There's a difference. But here's where I come in. And then because this is what I know would happen for sure, if it was Becky Richardson. If it was Becky Richardson, somebody would step up. And even if it didn't work, somebody from the United States would go to the Olympic Committee and say, hey, we've got to really talk about this, because here in the States, it's legal. And we can't be punishing people for doing something that is legal in our country. That's not right. It's not a performance enhancing drug. Our rules are very clear and finite on performance enhancing. This was not it. Even if it didn't work, even if the Olympic Committee was like, we don't care, we said what we said, at least the United States would show that they supported this Black athlete. And that's where I have a problem, because this Black man tweeted something to Sha'Carri that I understand the sentiment, but it bothers me. I think I have one more tweet in there, but he basically says, he says, but you gotta set a better example for millions of little girls, especially Black and brown girls. Lots of folks had high hopes for you in the Olympics. Do better. Remember, we Black, every little thing we do matters more than a different race doing the same. This bothers me in ways that I cannot even explain, because while he is 100% right, my dad told me this when I was really young. We have to do twice the work to get half the credit. While that is true, why? Why are y'all still confused why we don't honor a song and a piece of fabric that means nothing to us, because it really doesn't, because we were literally property at the time? Why are you so concerned about us having honor for that when you don't even honor the fact that we have a totally different system? We can't even do what you do. We can't even live our lives peacefully the same way you do without people being like, yeah, I know we did that, but you shouldn't. I know Michael Phelps did that, but you shouldn't. This double standard is driving me insane, especially when you consider what this woman had to go through. I'm going to give you her interview that she had on the Today Show. I want you to listen to what she said. And if it doesn't pull at your heartstrings, I just don't get it. I don't. Take a listen.
Honestly, I want to take responsibility for my actions. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm allowed not to do, and I still made that decision. But not making an excuse or looking for any empathy in my case, but just, however, being in that position of my life, finding out something like that, something that I would say is probably one of the biggest things that have impacted me positively and negatively in my life when it comes to dealing with the relationship I have with my mother. So that definitely was a very heavy topic on me, and people don't understand what it's like to have to, or people do. We all have our different struggles. We all have our different things we deal with. But to put on a face, to have to go in front of the world and put on a face and hide my pain, like, who are you, or who am I to tell you how to cope when you're dealing with a pain, or you're dealing with a struggle that you've never experienced before, or that you've never thought you would have to deal with? Like, who am I to tell you how to cope? Who am I to tell you that you're wrong for hurting? So I think just honestly, just leading up to that, dealing with my mental health, dealing with my mental as is, with leading up to the games, every time stepping on the track, definitely expected to be a record-breaking time or something like that. So just with that, pressure in itself was also just another thing. With this actually been my first full professional career, my first full professional circuit this year due to, the pandemic. So
I see Joshua in the chat said there's no excuse for what you did. Take responsibility. Take responsibility for what? Exactly. Take responsibility for doing something that is legal in her state. Taking responsibility. I saw a tweet that said testing people in Oregon for marijuana is like testing people in Italy for marinara sauce. It's dumb. The best weed comes from Oregon, just so you know that. So, but that mindset that Joshua has, I'm telling you right now, 100%, and I'm going to stand on this, that is not the mindset that would exist if this was Becky Richardson. If this was Becky Richardson, the United States would step up and they would do exactly what I said. They would say, it's legal here. What are y'all doing, Olympic Committee? You can't do this. Again, and we know, you know how we know that? Because we know for a fact that Michael Phelps is a huge weed supporter. We know that Michael Phelps smoked weed, and all of a sudden his testing came very sporadic after he was seen. He didn't even test positive. After it became known that he had this weed fetish, his testing became very sporadic. They weren't even testing him like this. It's a terrible thing. And I'm telling you right now, the fact that the United States has not stepped up to say, hey, this is our country and this is legal here, you can't punish her for something that we allow, is the America. It's America. Because the fact of the matter is this should not be a thing. The United States should definitely step up and say, this is what we are doing. This is what it is allowed here. And Chris, if you don't know who Becky is, I'll pray for you. I don't know why you don't get that reference, but I said what I said, and what we're not going to do is pretend that this is something that really should stop this woman from going and participating in the Olympics. This is wrong. This is a setup, and I don't like it. And I'm not watching the Olympics. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not watching it. But that's all I got for what we're not going to do.
All right, let's waste no time.
Right.
Woo, woo. Okay, Jackie, loved that whole thing about Sha'Carri. That was amazing. I love her. Let's get into fan or foe. We have very limited time. Leo, first one. Let's get it up there. Victory George says Dallas should trade Kristaps Porzingis for Ben Simmons. Dallas would have the defensive wing they need, and Philadelphia will have the shooter they always wanted in Porzingis. It's a win-win. Interesting. It's an interesting take.
It's never a win with Ben. Move on.
Let's get into the next one. Ben Simmons could be in perfect mindset and still wouldn't matter because he can't shoot and he doesn't practice shooting. He goes to the gym and lifts and then dunks and then leaves. I see no lies. No lies whatsoever. Let's get into the next one. Communication is key, especially with Kawhi. He was getting his doctors and uncle involved. He's not a leader, and it's deja vu. Okay, what do you think about that one?
I do. I've been saying that. It's deja vu. It's very similar to what we saw in San Antonio, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
For sure. Okay, moving on. Mike Locke says, the Suns are very lucky and no hate, but they've been lucky all season. They were handed this playoffs season on a silver platter. And I said that before. That's not to take away from what they've been able to do, but they did have an easier run. If they were facing any of the teams fully healthy, I don't know that we would have been in the same position. Let's get into the next one. Kevin L. Lang, knock, knock, knock. Is this thing on? Dame is going to the Knicks. I would not be so sure about that, Kevin. I wouldn't be so sure about that. But I like the confidence.
No. Basketball gods, hear me now. LA, LA, LA. LA, LA, LA.
LA. I am with you. T-Love says, how y'all know Kawhi is mad? These gossip shows is sickening. Okay, it's not gossip. It's sports rumors. Just don't watch. That's all I have to say. If you don't want to be here, don't watch. Okay. Jerome Davis says, you have to win before you decide to leave like Braun. Interesting take here. This is about Kawhi, I think. Do you agree with this?
Nope. I said what I said. I think what we're seeing right now is deja vu. And I think, especially since they did a little bit better without him, I don't know. I don't think this is he's going to decide to leave. I think they might say, maybe we'll part ways. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. Zane Shaw says, Kawhi knows the Clipper roster isn't good enough to win a chip, so he wants to dip. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's like the Clippers roster not being good enough. It's just not the right fit for him. They just need to change something up. He needs to move somewhere else. Let's get into the next one. Optic Stack says, misses free throws in back-to-back games for the win. Why am I getting criticized about Paul George? I mean, that was last season.
That's not what he said. Yeah. You know, what he said was the criticism does, get to him, but he's got to play his best game. And he does think he gets an excessive amount of criticism, which I would agree with that. That's not what he said, though. I appreciate your comment, though. That's not what he said.
Doug says his stats will often be better without Claw there simply because there will be more touches for him and they'll defer to him more often. About Paul George again. And I think this is exactly what we've been saying. He just gets more of an opportunity to shine. Let's get into the next one. Suleiman says the battle of Jeremiah versus Jackie and Devin handicap match. Always a battle with Jeremiah. We love you, though. We love you. Let's get into the next one. Japoy says Bulbul girlfriend thicker than sidewalk chalk. Can I put this in for fan of the week? I think this is a fan of the week contender.
Got me thick too. That sidewalk chalk is like you got to do both hands.
Okay, JD says Chris Paul deserves this. It allows you Lakers fans to sleep well at night knowing the Clippers didn't make it. Honestly, yeah, it's true. We're happy. We like it. Next one, Leo. Jeremiah says Klay Thompson, the best light skin in the league. Not sorry, Devin Booker. Okay, wait. I have a question about this, Jackie. Is Klay Thompson considered a light skin, or is he just a white boy?
Yeah, his daddy's black.
Oh, I forgot about that. He looks just like a white boy to me.
But if he lets his hair grow out, then you see it. Yeah, his daddy's black.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. Okay. Well, that I think is going to be our last one, you guys, because we are at 10 a.m. So we got to wrap up the show. But I think we should give Japoy our Fan of the Week award. Because that sidewalk chalk comment was great. We loved it. It's so good. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to head right into our weekend. Just as a reminder, we are not going live on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will not be there, but we will be back on Tuesday. We hope everybody has a great weekend, and subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and we'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Happy birthday, Leo!